The most convincing lies are the ones wrapped in genuine care, because the liar believes them too. There was a frog in the pond who was different from the others. Not louder, not faster, not more impressive to look at, but when he spoke, the whole pond went quiet. Because he had a gift, he understood suffering. He could look at a struggling fish, a tired frog, a creature quietly drowning in its own ordinary life, and describe their pain so precisely, so gently, so completely, that they would stop and say, "How did you know? How did you know exactly what it feels like?" This is how it began, and this is also, though nobody saw it at the time, how it would end. His name in the pond was Elder, though he was not particularly old. The title had been given naturally, without ceremony, the way real authority always arrives, not taken but handed over, slowly, by everyone who felt safer when he was nearby. He had a vision, a better pond, he said, cleaner water, less crowded, a place where the fish did not have to fight for light and the frogs did not have to fight for space. He had seen it once, or so he said, far beyond the eastern reeds, a place so full of life and possibility that once you arrived, you would never understand how you had survived this long without it. The fish listened. How could they not? He described their hunger so perfectly, their exhaustion, the way the current in this pond had been working against them for so long, they had started to believe that struggling was just what swimming felt like. One by one, they gathered around him. "Take us," they said. "Show us the way." And he smiled the warm, unhurried smile of someone who has been waiting for exactly this question. "I will," he said. "Trust me." Now here is what you need to understand about Elder. He was not lying, not entirely. He genuinely believed in the better pond. He had told the story so many times, in such vivid detail, that it had become completely real inside his own mind. The clear water, the open space, the life that waited on the other side of the eastern reeds. He had never been there, but he had lived there, in his imagination, for so long that the difference had quietly dissolved. This is the most dangerous kind of leader. Not the one who knows he is deceiving you, but the one who has deceived himself first. And with such conviction, such warmth, such absolute certainty, that following him feels like the most reasonable thing in the world. The journey began on a still morning, Elder at the front, the fish behind him, moving east through water they had never crossed before, further from home with every stroke, further from the familiar, further from everything they had known. Some fish grew tired quickly. Elder encouraged them forward. Some fish began to doubt. Elder reminded them of the suffering they were leaving behind. Some fish turned back. Elder let them go quietly, with just enough sadness in his eyes to make the ones who stayed feel they had made the braver choice. And so they went deeper and deeper until the water changed. It did not look like he had described. The fish stopped swimming and looked around at water that was colder than promised, darker than described. An eastern reed bed that ended not in a glorious open pond, but in shallow, muddy stillness that could not support half of what had arrived inside it. They turned to Elder and found him standing very still, looking at the water with the expression of a frog encountering, for the first time, the gap between the story he had been telling and the place he had actually led them to. He had not known. That was the unbearable part. He genuinely had not known. There is a kind of person in every pond, in every workplace, every family, every circle of friends. They are not evil. They do not wish you harm. They are simply so in love with the vision inside their head that they forget to keep checking whether the real world still matches it. And they are so gifted at describing your pain that you hand them your trust completely before asking the one question that matters most. Have you actually been there, or do you just know how to describe the road? Before you follow anyone out of your own pond, ask that question, not with cruelty, just with clarity. And if they hesitate even for a half second too long, stay where you are. That hesitation is your answer. That is what the Mirror Moment Worksheet was made for. Not to make you suspicious of everyone, but to help you know yourself clearly enough that you can tell the difference between a vision worth following and a beautiful story going nowhere. $1, link below. His name was Tad, and he was one of the fish who turned back early. He never forgot why. Stay with us. The pond has more stories to tell.